Often mistaken for a cathedral, Norwood's town hall was erected in 1928. The 125-foot Carillon Tower and Memorial Hall classically represent Gothic architecture. The building has stood the test of time as one of Norwood's prominent landmarks. Inside, however, was another story. Just through the main entrance of the grand structure is Memorial Hall, an almost chapel-like chamber. Designed as a monument to Norwood's veterans who served, Memorial Hall proudly honors Norwood's bravest. But unfortunately, time has marched across the heavy oak furniture that was originally installed almost 100 years ago. Water damage and heavy use over the course of a century took its toll on the ornate furniture. Over several community preservation requests, the General Manager's Office has been able to bring these regal furnishings back to life. The most recent set to be restored were the 38 wooden benches that were built back in 1928. The project cost about $78,000. The project was accepted by the Community Preservation Committee and approved by a simple majority at town meeting in May 2024.
A couple of years ago, we kicked off quite a bit of work here in Memorial Hall. The first phase was for the large table and chairs behind us, and that was sort of our first foray with the CPA project into preserving Memorial Hall. The table was removed from the area, as were the chairs. They were completely restored, stained, any repairs made necessary. That was step one. Step two was all of the benches that you see throughout Memorial Hall. There's more than 80 of these benches, and they were all taken out to a workshop. They were sanded down, they were stained down, repairs were made, and they were hammered back together. Now, as you can see, they're very sturdy. They were a little bit loose prior to that. The benches, as well as the table and chairs, are actually original to Memorial Hall, so they came with the building when it was built in 1928. So it's important to make sure that we restore them and that we were able to preserve them for generations in the future. We've actually seen an increase in use in Memorial Hall since we've restored all of the benches. We've also had the facilities department do some great work in the building as well, including some painting and some patching that the Memorial Hall needed when we had the benches out of here.
It is because of funds made available by the Community Preservation Act that Norwood was able to fund projects such as the Memorial Hall bench restoration.
The Community Preservation Act came about around 20 years ago, a little bit over, and not every community in Massachusetts participates, but certainly there's more than 140 communities that do. It's a surcharge on property taxes that gets spent specifically in 4 different areas, and it's matched by money from the state that comes from a surcharge on the Registry of Deeds. So every dollar that gets contributed locally by residents and businesses gets matched sometimes 20%, sometimes 30%, sometimes more by the state. So it allows us to take our local money and really magnify it by getting that match from the state that comes from a deeds excise charge that everyone pays in Norfolk County and every other county in the Commonwealth. Now, you still pay that deeds excise tax when you transact the deed, regardless of whether a community has a preservation charge. So by having the Community Preservation Act, we're able to take advantage of that pool of money.
The town continues to restore and preserve its physical history through the use of community preservation funds. As of spring 2025, the Norwood Community Preservation Fund has awarded over $4.4 million to applicants that have met the preservation requirements, almost half of which has been requested for historical preservation projects such as this. To learn more about the Community Preservation Committee or how you can get involved, visit the Town of Norwood website at www.norwoodma.gov.